It's working. Hello, my name is Brianna. Welcome to another one of my weekly vlogs / Bible studies. So of course, first up is the weekly vlog.
Hey Mom.
Yep, where are we going?
We are headed to the YMCA to pack up all the circus equipment and go to a park to do a community outreach and teach the kids circus.
Woo, wonderful.
I know, I'm excited.
It's changing colors. So this happened. I now have no chair, so yeah.
It's circus time again. That's bright. That's real bright.
Look how cool my mom is. Almost. Fun week. And now it's time for... Alright, so this week our passage is one of the most popular quoted verses from the Bible, Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through him who strengthens me. Okay, so I have a little skit for you all. Once upon a time, there was a young Christian boy who was captain of his school's football team. They were called Team A, and the school they were playing against was called Team B. Before the game started, the boy said to his team members,
Alright guys, remember, we can do all things through Christ. Let's go, let's do this, let's win.
So they played against Team B, and unfortunately, Team A lost the game.
I thought God was on our side.
That was fun.
Not for me.
Shh. Okay, so this passage does not mean that you're always gonna win, or you're always gonna get an A+, or you're gonna always get the job you wanted. I'm sorry, life isn't fair. So, what does this passage mean then? Well, let's get some context. Let's read from verse 11. Not that I'm speaking of being in need, for I have learned in whatever situation I am to be content. I know how to be brought low, and I know how to abound. In any and every circumstance, I have learned the secret of facing plenty and hunger, abundance and need. I can do all things through him who strengthens me. So Paul is the one writing this passage to the Philippians. Let me tell you a little bit about Paul. He's been flogged several times. He's been put in prison multiple times. He was even stoned once. Like, people literally just threw stones at him until they thought he was dead. So when he says that he's learned to be content in every situation, he means every situation. And when he says he's learned to be content in every situation, he means he's learned to be content in every situation. How does he do that? I wouldn't be content if I was sitting in prison just after I got flogged. Hopefully you can see by now that this passage is about contentment more than it is about what I can do. So when Paul says, I can do all things through him who strengthens me, what he's saying is I can endure anything, whether good or bad, because God is right beside me giving me strength. Paul isn't just content when his life is going super well. He's content even when he's in prison. Did you know he started singing praises to God when he was in prison? That's pretty cool. Anyway, how does he get his contentment from God? Well, God shows us the greatest love anyone could ever show us. And he offers us hope and he offers us a future. And so when everything else fades, like I talked about in the last video, we still have God. And he's never going to change and he's never going to leave us. Okay, did you know that the Bible also talks about doing all things through Christ in Matthew?
Let's read it, shall we?
And Jesus said to his disciples, "Truly I say to you, only with difficulty will a rich person enter the kingdom of heaven. Again I tell you, it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich person to enter the kingdom of God." When the disciples heard this, they were greatly astonished, saying, "Who then can be saved?" But Jesus looked at them and said, "With man this is impossible, but with God all things are possible." So here, Jesus is talking to his disciples about a rich man who puts all his trust and security in money. And he does not put it in God, which is going to be bad because the wealth is going to go away. It's going to fade like the last video. Jesus is saying that a huge camel would have an easier time going through a little eye of a needle than a rich man would have getting into the kingdom of heaven. And the disciples are like, wow, if a rich man has that hard of a time getting into heaven, how does anyone get into heaven? And Jesus is just like, with God all things are possible. So this passage is very encouraging because 1, it reminds us that our works don't get us into heaven. It all depends on what Jesus did on the cross for us. And 2, this also means that we can overcome any sin with God. All we have to do is go to God and ask him to forgive us and ask him to help us change. And then we just have to trust him. And it's going to take time and it's going to take a lot of effort and work, but we can overcome the sin with his strength. There are also other passages in the Bible where it says that all things are possible with God. For example, in Luke, when Mary is like, "Really? I'm gonna have a baby? I'm a virgin." And this angel is just like, "Nothing will be impossible with God." Okay, just to wrap it up. From these 2 passages that we looked at, we learned that nothing being impossible with God means that we can endure all things, whether good or bad, because we have God on our side and he's never going to leave. We also learned that we can overcome any sin with God because he gives us the power and the strength to do so. And one more thing. Being able to do all things through him who strengthens us is not really about us. It's really about how amazing and powerful and strong God is to do all this stuff, and how loving he is to care about us that much. Alrighty everyone, thanks for watching. It's been another great week. I hope to see you next week. Bye!
Oh, the air conditioner turned on. Yes.
Boop-a-doo-boo. What am I doing? What am I doing?
Got my second shirt on. Here we go.
Really nice. Okay, is my mic working now? Please?
Okay, here we go. Oh yeah.